Hi, welcome to MJ Hobby Corner and another MJ Hobby Talk. I'm Julie, MJ's trusty sidekick, and this handsome fella beside me is MJ. And if you look around, you might notice that things are a little different, and that is because we are in a different location for me, because I can no longer sit where I was sitting before to do our chat. So, for the time being, we're in a different location, but that's okay. Actually, it's a little more comfortable, isn't it? It's cozy.
Yeah. Well, and hey, we have to do whatever is comfortable for you, for your back.
Have to adapt.
If you can't sit in a particular area because of pain, this is the way we do it, and everyone's gonna understand. So, very cool.
Yep. So here we are. So today we have something a little different for you as well. We will be doing a faction talk today.
That's
so
right.
Tell us about that.
That's right. We have a little faction talk, Age of Fantasy Skirmish, and that's thanks to our Lords of Fantasy who voted on the game.
Mm-hmm.
I presented a few options. They voted for Age of Fantasy Skirmish, and we chose the factions we were going to talk about because, these are the factions that we had more experience with.
Right.
So it's a simple overview. Obviously, we're only scratching the surface.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I mean, OPR is a very, as you guys know, a very broad, a game. It has so many different factions and games, and so it's gonna be a little talk.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It'll bring a little nerd talk to the channel.
Yay, let's nerd out for a bit. That'll be fun.
So before we go into our faction talk, I just want to say that I am working on Scratch Builder Monthly for April. I was busy working on it all day today and tomorrow, hopefully finishing it. And then Julie...
I'll edit it.
Julie will edit it, and it will go on Wargames Vault. It's going to be half off until Friday, I think.
Okay.
So, and then it'll go back up to regular price. So, Scratch Builder, I've added a few new things so you guys can check it out.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's get on to our faction talk.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's begin with some categories for our chats just to guide our chat along. So, Julie, you're going to be doing your Deep Sea Elves. So, first we'll start with faction narrative.
Okay.
And by the way, if you guys hear tippy tapping, that's General Yoda.
Yes.
That's our dog Yoda.
Yes.
He does what he does.
Yes, he's just tippy tapping around down there. We tried putting him up here with us, but that didn't work out very well.
Yeah.
Simone, actually though, is up here with us. She's just out of camera shot. So you can't see him.
All right, so faction narrative. Julie, Deep Sea Elves.
Right, the Deep Sea Elves. They're my favorite, but I don't think that comes as much of a surprise to anybody. But they, were established, or they came about because there was such an influx of humans in the area where the elves lived that they scattered, they pushed the elves out into different areas. And some went to the sea, and they went to an island off of Tyria. And on that island, they found all kinds of relics and lost magical tomes and all sorts of things. So a lot of the elves started studying all of these lost archives. And they became the elf scholars, the scholar elves, the elves. But they gained so much magic and power that eventually these mages were so tyrannical that they caused a revolution, and they ended up basically destroying the island that they had built.
Yeah.
And then going off into the sea with the sea creatures. And for centuries, they have been searching for more magic and more archives and more tomes and building up their magical powers again. And now they are ready.
So they're coming back after, I guess, after they created the revolution and all that.
Right.
They lost, didn't they? I thought they lost or something.
Well, it depends on how you look at it, I suppose.
Right.
I mean, they no, not. I mean, they blew up the island, so I mean, everybody lost. I guess.
I see. Yeah, it was a kind of a conflict, just destroyed everything.
Yeah,
and then,
they just destroyed everything.
yeah, and then they went into the sea.
Right.
So now they're coming back. Now they're looking for artifacts. Is
Mhm,
that yeah?
mhm. Yeah, they want to. They're just trying to continue to build up their powers.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we can see from that narrative where deep sea elves, you can have like objective based scenarios where there's like artifacts on the table
Mhm.
and they're coming out of the ocean to
Mhm.
kind of, you know, get them back.
Exactly.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, the Saurians are interesting. There's some similarities between the two.
Mhm.
By the way, I love my lizard people.
Mhm.
I think I was a lizard man.
I think so too.
Sometime before, you know, in my previous life, I was a lizard man.
Mhm.
So, because that's not weird at all.
No.
So basically, you had these frog mages who
Mhm.
were very, very powerful. They became powerful because they discovered a very powerful magic in water, in the water in their environment. And this was at a time before humans, before they claimed to be the most ancient race in Tyria, before elves, even before anything.
Mhm.
So the frog mages, you know, studied this power, gained this power from the waters that they lived in, and then eventually shared it with some of the unthinking creatures, right? And these unthinking creatures, with the help of that magic, became what we would know as lizardmen, you know, as these humanoid reptilian forms. And so these lizardmen then worshiped the frog mages because, I mean, basically they were created, they worshiped the frog mages as their gods. So, unfortunately, the havoc gods and their demons discovered this magic and wanted it for themselves. So a war broke out between the frog mages and these havoc gods. And eventually, to escape the destruction, the frog mages opened up the void gates and said, goodbye. And they went to another plane of existence.
Oh, okay.
So while they're there, many centuries later, they're coming back now. But they've discovered that the havoc gods and the demons have been released upon Tyria. Right? Tyria? Tyria. We're going to say Tyria.
We'll go with Tyria.
Or Tyria, you know.
Correct us in the comments if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
We're not sure.
I'm going to say Tyria. And so, basically, so they're coming back. And the thing is that there is a division among the lizardmen. Some think that the frog mages have failed in stopping the prophecy of destruction. Others think that something else is coming in the future, and the frog mages are the only ones that can stop it. And basically, there's some indecisiveness here. So, as the army book says, you know, make your own destiny, you know, basically. And now the Saurians are basically coming back to fight, and they're ready to fight the demons and the havoc gods.
All right.
So, but I think now in our previous game, your deep sea elves fought my Saurians.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think from a narrative perspective, it's kind of easy to see if the frog mages discover an artifact that maybe belonged to the deep sea elves, and now the deep sea elves want it back. This is one reason for them to fight. So
yeah, for sure, that would be fun.
That was kind of an older game that we played. You remember that game?
Yeah, it's like a year ago.
About a year ago.
I didn't realize it was that long ago until I was looking for it on the channel.
So that was, in a nutshell, the narrative. And now our next category is playability. So what can you tell us about playability? How easy did you think it was to play
I
them?
found them very easy to play.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Their stats are average, like we were saying. But all of them, like most of them are, like not very many of them are threes, like are lower. So it's using their special abilities that makes them powerful.
Right.
But I found them easy to play. I found them a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, so your
Yeah.
quality is mostly 4+ all across the board. You got defense 4+,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's what your Krabby. Krabby is 3+.
He's 3. Mm-hmm. A couple of them, I don't know which ones. I think are 5+ defense. I think I've got a couple that are 5+.
Okay, well we can check the army list for
Mhm.
that. So yeah, so basically you're depending on
The special abilities.
your special abilities, your spells.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But I've got great spells.
yeah.
And the special abilities are pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about a couple of those stats and things in just a minute. So so you found it easy to get into them.
Mhm.
Okay. So I just want to make a note on models and model availability.
Mm-hmm.
Deep sea elves are a little specialized. The way their army's structure and everything, there's a lot of sea creatures. For somebody that's maybe new to the hobby, models from, say, Mantic, the Trident realms, that's something we use a lot in our, we're talking from our perspective. The models that I use are Trident realms from Mantic, because they have all those sea creatures, they have the sea elves themselves, right? And then, more importantly, models from Hadros. Remember Hadros?
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
From Wrath of Kings.
From Wrath of Kings.
Yeah, we depend on that collection for a big deal. Unfortunately, that's a dead game. You could hardly find the models.
It is too bad, because that is a great game.
I think if you look on eBay, you'll probably find, but sometimes they're more expensive than they should be, you know, if they're collector's items now.
True enough.
But so, you know, you do Reaper. I know Reaper Bones has like fish people and all that. For you know, there's definitely a lot of Reaper models.
Reaper's good, yeah.
Yeah, Reaper has a lot of cool models. And now that our Lords of Fantasy are offered this code from Dark Horse Hobbies and Games, they do sell Reaper models there. Although I haven't seen their selection if they have any sea creatures. But, you know, shark people, any of those things can maybe be used in a deep sea elf army. You may have to change the names of certain troops, but that's what we do.
Yeah.
So, all right, for Lizardmen. Playability for Lizardmen. Again, in general, Age of Fantasy and one-page rules is not a difficult game to get into at all, in general. Neither are the factions. I think from a model perspective, Lizardmen are very common. You can find all kinds of Lizardmen models in any scale, right?
You can find a lot in your collection.
I can find a lot in my collection, of course. I have tons of Lizardmen.
Tons, yeah.
All different kinds. I mean, Reaper Lizardmen are one of my favorites because they're so different. But you have Seraphon models from Age of Sigmar. You know, you have like all kinds of... there's actually quite a few Reaper models. There's a few variants that you can get in the Reaper Bones. So there's a lot of models. You won't have a shortage of models to represent your troops. You also have a lot of reptilian monsters, you know, D&D figures.
Sure, yeah.
Well, you know, we even use like board game figures many times for our reptiles and this and that. So there's no shortage of models that way. So I think trying to get into a Lizardman warband wouldn't be that difficult from that perspective. As far as the rules, like you, lizardmen rely a lot on their special abilities, their spells.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is pretty straightforward, so you don't have a lot of complicated mechanics going into this. Again, it's not a hard game to play, so you just got to remember your abilities.
That's true. That is the hardest part for me, is remembering.
Yeah, I'm terrible at that too.
We both are.
We're mashed potato brains.
Yes, for sure.
So, I would have to say, but very much like you, lizardmen are a pretty easy faction to get into.
Mm-hmm.
We have one thing that we have in Skirmish. We're not as limited either. We have quite a few little troops to choose from. We have swarms of snakes that are like fodder, cannon fodder.
Mm-hmm.
They have like a 6+ quality, 6+ defense,
Mm-hmm.
but then they have tough 3,
Mm-hmm.
and you just throw them in there to harass your enemy. So we're good at that.
Mm-hmm.
We have chameleons that are glass cannon, right? They don't live very, very long when you hit them. But they're ranged units, which, by the way, I don't remember. I think your guys have ranged units as well.
Yeah, they do.
The elves.
Yeah. That's me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick an army that doesn't have range.
Right. So we figure out a way of getting those bows in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we used, in our game, we used harpoon gunners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the Mantic figures actually have elf harpoon gunners, which I think is awesome, instead of bows. So, so for us, now, one thing that's missing in Skirmish are all the heavy units that you see in standard Age of Fantasy. For example, for us, it's the ankylosaurs, those big dinosaurs, which are the tanks. And I think for you, you have a couple of big tank units too. I don't remember exactly who they are. We've never played Age of Fantasy. We've only played Skirmish, so you're not used to. Basically, that's it for us. Deinonychus riders, or raptor riders as they're called, are basically our cavalry. You have the worm riders.
Right, yeah.
Right? But we actually, to accommodate one of our miniatures, we use a Kraken miniature. You remember that one? It's a Wrath of King's miniature. Lovely miniature.
Yeah, it's great.
And that's what we use as your cavalry when playing Skirmish. The Saurian spells Transcend. It costs 3 spell points. You can target 4 friendly units and within 18 inches, and they all get regeneration.
Ooh.
Which is a 5+ roll. So, not bad.
I hated that.
You hated regeneration?
For you, yeah, because you always were regenerating.
For Robot Legions, like they have regeneration and stuff. And so we're going to continue and just give a couple of examples from our own little list that we played in the past based on our experience. A couple of little examples of units that we like and that stand out to us in the Skirmish version. For me, one of the things is that my Saurian veteran can be given a heavy weapon, so I can upgrade him with a heavy weapon. He can be given Holy Spawn, which is a special ability, and he already has Predator. Saurian heroes do have Predator already. He has Tough 3, and I can mount him on a Raptor for 15 points. Now, when I mount him on a Raptor, he gets Impact 1, which is nasty, right? That means one of my hits is going to hit on a 2+, regardless of quality. He gets Devour, which is whenever a 6 is rolled, the opponent takes 1 extra wound.
Wow. Okay.
So, and then Predator gives you an extra attack for every 6 that you roll. So Saurian heroes can be pretty decked out. Now you said you had
my sharks.
Oh, Shark Riders.
Yeah.
Now they're not. To be clear, they're not in Skirmish. They're not a choice for Skirmish, but they are a choice in Age of Fantasy.
Right.
The Shark Riders, right? Yeah, they're
Impact 4.
Impact 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's nasty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's right.
Pretty
And
cool.
and they have like a 3+ defense.
3+ defense.
Yeah.
4 quality. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, now I haven't checked like their movement stats or anything like that. If they have any buffs with that, but I'm sure once you give them abilities, damn, that is nasty. Impact 4, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I can't use that for skirmish.
For skirmish, right? They pull them out because I think for skirmish that would kind of unbalance.
Yeah, for sure.
You want those in a bigger army.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my Raptor Riders are pretty strong, but that's pretty fucking nasty.
My crab is pretty good though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My crab is really good. He's got defense 3 as well.
Defense 3.
Yeah, and he's got rending.
Right, for each of his claws.
And he's got his pincers. He's A3.
Right, each pincer is like A3, so that's like 6 attacks. That's the way we play it because it's 2 pincers.
Right.
So A6 and then rending. So if you roll like Julie rolls really well, as you guys know, and you roll those 6s, that counts as AP4.
Yes.
That's rough. Yeah. Crab. Again, deep sea elves have some pretty neat units for skirmish. And
the worm riders are good too.
The worm riders, yeah. Now those guys you give impact to, right? I believe you have the stats there.
Yeah, impact 2.
Impact 2, that's not bad. That's actually greater than my hero if I put him on a raptor. And these are just troops. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got Strider, and they're also tough 3.
Strider's very helpful because it helps you with rough terrain. And what was that? Tough 3. Yeah, well, I would have tough 3 if it was a hero. My regular Raptor Riders, I don't believe they have tough 3. They have fast and fearless. They have impact 1 for being on Raptors, and you can give them different weapons too. Let's not forget that there's a choice of different weapons that you can give your guys to upgrade them to make them hit harder. But yeah, you're pretty tough. Deep sea elves are pretty tough.
I love my elves.
Yeah, they have a pretty nice selection. It's no wonder that you gave me a hard time in that game. So
let us know in the comments which factions you like to play, guys.
Yeah, and if you do play Saurians or Deep Sea Elves, we'd love to know. And how easy did you think it was to get into the faction? Did you find models readily available? Did you have to convert things? I mean, I suppose for Deep Sea Elves, you can take some elves and paint them, paint their cloaks and stuff in blues and other like water-like things.
Sure.
I guess that's a way to go. I really like Mantic's Trident Realm figures for that.
I agree.
And then you have, just going back a little bit, you have octopus people and stuff that you could throw into your war bands. So you have a lot going on.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, I think that's anything else that you want to add?
No, I don't think so.
So, your experience with Deep Sea Elves?
I enjoy them very much, and I look forward to playing them again.
All right. And same thing with Saurians. I think I'm going to try playing small-scale one-page rules. So, that's going to be coming in the summer. We're going to be playing some big battles with, like, 10 millimeter or 15 millimeter. And they're going to be very, very customized armies. So look out for that if you're interested in small scale gaming. We are going to try and do some bigger battles for OPR, and that includes Grim Dark. So we can add some vehicles, some tanks. That'll be a lot of fun. So stay tuned. All right, well, I guess that's our little talk. All right, folks. Well, that was our short little talk. Our little nerd talk on Age of Fantasy Skirmish. And we'll continue to make these little faction talks in the future. And now I have to go feed General Yoda because he's ordering me.
He's demanding.
So, All right, folks. Well, I hope you enjoy. And Julie, I'll see you in the next battle.
I'll be there.
And thank you very much to Dark Horse Hobbies and Games for offering that little perk to our patrons and our members.
Yes, very much so.
Our Lords of Fantasy. So I'll see you soon, guys. See you on the tabletop.
Take care, everybody.
Bye now.